It was September 15th, 2021, a warm, quiet afternoon in Santa Monica when the renovation crew at the Santa Monica Wellness Building began work on the building's basement. Thomas Rivera, the 52-year-old project manager, had overseen hundreds of renovations in his 27-year career, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to discover. As the crew cleared the basement beneath the old yoga studio, they approached a section of wall that wasn't on any of the blueprints. Rivera, sledgehammer in hand, began to break through the thick 12-inch concrete. The first crack widened with a satisfying crackle. The second blow created a small hole. Then, peering inside, his flashlight revealed something that froze his blood. A skeleton lay sprawled on the cold concrete floor, dressed in faded purple yoga clothes. Beside it were a yoga mat, a meditation cushion, and a small water bottle. Everything was eerily arranged, as though the owner had simply stepped away. But this wasn't a simple case of abandonment. This was Patricia Davis, the beloved yoga studio owner who had vanished 20 years ago, at the age of 29, leaving her studio, her students, and her dreams behind. Her appointment book remained open, her weekend plans carefully noted, as if someone wanted her life to look untouched. But now the truth was finally exposed, dark, brutal, and hidden for 2 decades. Rivera backed away, heart racing, and called the crew together. Everyone stepped back. Call the police. Within minutes, the Santa Monica Police Department arrived. Patrol cars, flashing lights, and Detective Lisa Martinez's unmarked vehicle transformed the basement into a crime scene. Martinez, 48, a veteran of 23 years on the force and 11 years in the cold case unit, had seen many tragic discoveries, but nothing quite like this. She crouched over the scene, eyes scanning every detail. The skeleton lay on its back, arms outstretched, legs straight. Blunt trauma marked the right back of the skull. The faint purple fabric clung to the bones. A silver bracelet on the left wrist bore the initials PD, Patricia Davis. Martinez whispered quietly, "We need to review the building's history, every missing person case for the past 30 years." As forensic teams began collecting samples, DNA evidence, concrete fragments, and organic materials, Martinez dug into the archives. One file stood out: Patricia Davis, missing since October 26, 2001, at age 29. The original investigation had been led by Detective James Wilson, now retired at 69. Martinez called him that evening. "Patricia Davis, I never forgot that case," Wilson said slowly. "She was wonderful, kind, patient. Everyone loved her. She disappeared after her last class. We searched for months, nothing." When asked if anyone seemed suspicious, Wilson hesitated, then mentioned the building manager at the time, Kevin Foster. He was concerned, cooperative, quiet, a bit lonely, never raised alarms. Meanwhile, forensic technicians worked tirelessly. Sweat, hair strands, blood traces, all preserved in the sealed storage area, were carefully cataloged. DNA from the skeleton was sent to the California State Police Forensic Laboratory. Patricia's mother, Margaret Davis, 68, provided a reference sample, hands trembling. 20 years had passed, yet she still remembered every detail of her daughter's life. How Patricia grew from a quiet, introverted child into a confident, serene yoga instructor. And now, at last, confirmation came. The skeleton was Patricia Ann Davis, born August 8, 1972, in Los Angeles, the only child of Margaret and William Davis. Patricia's life had been defined by dedication. From her first yoga class at 16 to her certification at 22, and finally opening her own studio at 27, she had poured her heart into teaching others. Her weekends were spent planning retreats, mentoring students, sharing her philosophy of peace and mindfulness. But there had been a shadow she never saw: Kevin Edward Foster, the building manager. Born in 1956, Kevin had lived a quiet, solitary life. By 1998, he managed the Santa Monica Wellness Building, overseeing dozens of tenants and classes. But by summer 2001, he had fixated on Patricia, watching her with an obsessive, secretive intensity. Friday, October 26, 2001, began like any other day. Patricia woke at 9:00 a.m., prepared breakfast, sipped green tea, and headed to the studio. Her schedule was packed. Vinyasa from 11:00 to 12:30, Hatha from 1:00 to 2:30, meditation at 3:00, yin yoga in the evening, and finally restorative yoga from 8:00 to 9:30 p.m. Her students loved her. She cleaned the studio meticulously, blew out the candles, turned off the music, and gathered her belongings. The studio was calm, organized, everything in its place. That's when Kevin appeared. "Patricia, I want to show you something," he said, a smile masking his true intentions. "A new meditation space in the basement. Quiet, isolated, just 5 minutes. Your opinion matters." Patricia hesitated, exhausted after a full day of teaching, but Kevin was trusted, familiar. Reluctantly, she followed him downstairs into the dark, quiet basement. There was no meditation space. There was only Kevin, the obsession he had nurtured for months, now erupting into violence. He approached her, words twisted with desire and control. Patricia backed away, panic in her eyes. "Kevin, what are you doing? I need to go home." Kevin was faster. He caught her. A heavy metal pipe struck her head. She fell. Her life ended in that cold, silent basement. Hours passed as Kevin dragged her body into the hidden storage area. Concrete blocks, mortar, a wall built to seal her away forever. The appointment book remained open, the yoga mat and cushion left beside her as a cruel tableau. Then he left, blending into life above her. For 20 years, classes continued. Students laughed, stretched, meditated, completely unaware of the body hidden beneath them. Margaret Davis worried at 11:45 p.m., calling, driving to the studio, finding nothing. Kevin maintained the illusion of concern, feigning confusion, giving statements to police that reassured a grieving mother. Days turned to weeks, weeks into months, months into years. The case went cold. Memorials were held. Kevin Foster remained, a shadow among the living, attending every service, hiding his secret. Then, September 15, 2021, the renovation wall crumbled under Thomas Rivera's sledgehammer, revealing the truth. Forensic teams and Detective Martinez worked with genetic genealogy expert Dr. Rachel Wang. Within weeks, DNA identified the last person anyone would have suspected: Kevin Foster. October 2, 2021. At 6:00 a.m., Martinez arrived at Kevin Foster's home. "Kevin Foster, you are under arrest in connection with the murder of Patricia Davis." The 65-year-old man lowered his head, whispering the truth no one had heard for 20 years. 20 years. At the station, Kevin confessed. The trial began in November. Evidence, DNA, witness statements, all conclusive. The jury deliberated briefly and returned a guilty verdict. Life imprisonment. Margaret Davis, still mourning, finally had justice for her daughter. Santa Monica Wellness Building reopened with a plaque. Patricia N. Davis, 1972-2001, Memorial Yoga Studio. Her dreams may have been stolen, but her memory would never fade. The news of Patricia Davis's discovery sent shockwaves through Santa Monica. For 20 years, the community had believed she had vanished, perhaps moved, perhaps lost to the world. But now, the truth lay in black and white, sealed behind a wall for decades. Detective Lisa Martinez knew this case would be one of the most difficult she had ever handled, not just for the evidence, but for the families who had spent 2 decades waiting for answers. Kevin Foster, the man everyone trusted, had been living among them with a secret buried beneath their feet. At 65, he had become quiet, withdrawn, his life a routine of maintenance and observation. But once arrested, his composure cracked. During hours of interrogation, Martinez carefully reconstructed the timeline. "October 26, 2001, she said. "Tell me exactly what happened that night." Kevin looked down, voice barely audible. I didn't mean for it to happen. I wanted her just to stay with me. I didn't want to hurt her, but she resisted. She screamed. I panicked." "Panicked?" Martinez asked. "You struck her with a metal pipe. You hid her body. You sealed her alive." Kevin shook his head. "Dead. She was gone before the wall went up. I didn't know what else to do. I built the wall and I waited. I thought if no one knew, no one would ever find out. Martinez recorded everything. The confession was chilling, but it gave the prosecution the evidence they needed. DNA, fingerprints, concrete analysis, and Kevin's own words, all converging on the undeniable truth. The courtroom was tense when the trial began in November 2021. Margaret Davis sat in the front row, hands gripping a photograph of Patricia. Her eyes, red from crying, never left the defendant. The prosecution presented a meticulous timeline: Patricia's classes, her final movements, Kevin Foster's position and opportunity, and finally, the evidence from the hidden storage area. Photographs of the scene were displayed on a large screen. The skeleton in faded purple clothing, yoga mat and cushion arranged beside her. The jury was visibly disturbed. Expert witnesses testified about the DNA evidence, the concrete samples, and the structural concealment of the wall. Every detail reinforced the same conclusion. Kevin Foster had killed Patricia Davis and hidden her body for 20 years. The defense tried to argue that Kevin had acted in a moment of uncontrollable obsession, that he had no previous criminal record, that he had contributed positively to the community over decades. But the evidence was overwhelming. The jury listened intently, taking notes, and at times, suppressing visible reactions to the graphic descriptions. During cross-examination, Detective Martinez detailed Kevin's long-standing obsession with Patricia. Surveillance footage, building records, and witness statements painted a clear picture. Kevin had watched Patricia for months before the murder. He knew her schedule, her classes, her breaks. He had cultivated trust to manipulate her. The most gut-wrenching moment of the trial came when Margaret Davis testified. Her voice was trembling. "My daughter was 29 years old. She had dreams. She had plans. She taught peace, mindfulness, love. And someone took her from us. 20 years, I lived 20 years without knowing. I couldn't cry because I didn't know if I should hope or despair. Now I know she's gone and someone must pay." The courtroom fell silent. Kevin Foster sat motionless, face pale, avoiding eye contact. The weight of 2 decades of lies and the reality of justice closing in was unbearable. Over the next week, jurors deliberated. 20 years of secrecy, pain, and fear had finally brought the case to this point. On the final day, the jury returned. The foreperson stood, voice steady but somber. "We find the defendant, Kevin Foster, guilty of first-degree murder. Life imprisonment, no parole." The gavel struck. Silence filled the courtroom. Margaret Davis wept openly, tears mixing with relief. Justice had finally been served, but the ache of lost years remained. Outside the courthouse, Detective Martinez addressed the press. "This case proves that no matter how much time passes, the truth can surface. Patricia Davis's family has waited 20 years for answers. Today, they have justice. But this also reminds us that trust can be betrayed, even by those closest to us." Santa Monica Wellness Building reopened weeks later, now as a memorial to Patricia Davis. A bronze plaque was placed near the entrance. "Patricia Ann Davis, 1972-2001, Memorial Yoga Studio." Students, former clients, and neighbors visited, leaving flowers, yoga mats, and notes. The community mourned but also celebrated her life, her dedication to mindfulness, her generosity, and her warmth. Detective Martinez reflected on the case in the quiet of her office. 20 years had passed, but every detail, every memory, every lie had finally led to justice. Patricia Davis's story, once a painful mystery, was now a testament to perseverance and the enduring need for truth. And while Kevin Foster would spend the rest of his life in prison, Patricia's memory would continue to inspire peace, resilience, and dedication to the practice she loved so dearly. Months after Kevin Foster's conviction, Santa Monica began the slow process of healing. Patricia Davis's Memorial Yoga Studio became a place not just for practice, but for remembrance. Students who had once taken her classes shared stories, laughed at memories, and quietly wiped tears from their eyes. Each mat rolled out on the studio floor seemed to carry a piece of Patricia's spirit, her dedication, her kindness, her patience. Detective Lisa Martinez continued to receive letters and messages from families across California. They wrote about missing loved ones, about hope rekindled by the resolution of Patricia's case. For Martinez, each message was a reminder that cold cases were never truly cold. They simply waited for the right moment, the right evidence, and the right persistence to bring closure. Margaret Davis, though older and still grieving, began organizing community yoga events in Patricia's honor. Each Saturday, people gathered in parks and studios, practicing yoga together, meditating and sharing stories about Patricia. It became a way to transform pain into positive action. Margaret spoke at one such gathering. Patricia taught us that peace and patience are powerful. She helped everyone around her find calm. Even though she's gone, her influence continues. Today, we honor her life, not her death. Former students also contributed. They created a scholarship in Patricia's name for aspiring yoga instructors, ensuring that her passion for teaching would continue to touch lives. The scholarship emphasized mindfulness, community service, and dedication, qualities Patricia had embodied. Inside the renovated Santa Monica Wellness Building, a small exhibit was dedicated to Patricia. Photographs of her teaching, letters from students, and her personal yoga props were displayed. Each item told a story of a life filled with purpose, interrupted by tragedy, but ultimately remembered with love and reverence. Kevin Foster remained incarcerated, serving life without parole. Psychologists who later interviewed him described a man trapped by obsession, regret, and isolation. He refused most visitors and rarely spoke of Patricia, except in brief, fragmented confessions. Outside, the community focused not on him, but on the legacy of the woman he had taken. In the following years, Patricia's story inspired more than memorials. Local wellness centers reviewed safety protocols, ensuring that spaces for yoga, meditation, and therapy were monitored, and that no person would ever exploit trust in the way Kevin had. Her tragedy became a catalyst for better protection, awareness, and community vigilance. Every year on October 26th, the day Patricia disappeared, students, friends, and family gathered at the studio. They lit candles, laid flowers, and rolled out their mats. They practiced yoga in silence for 20 minutes, reflecting, breathing, and honoring Patricia's memory. The practice became a symbol of resilience. Despite darkness, life could continue and light could return. Detective Martinez reflected often on the case. Patricia Davis's story is a reminder that evil can hide behind familiarity, behind trust, she said in a 2023 interview. But it's also proof that patience, persistence, and science can uncover the truth, even after 20 years. And so, Patricia's story ended not with despair, but with remembrance and hope. Her students taught new generations. Her scholarship empowered future instructors. Her studio remained a sanctuary. Patricia Ann Davis, 1972–2001, had been gone for 20 years, but her influence, her teachings, and her life continued to inspire calm, courage, and mindfulness in Santa Monica and beyond. As the sun set over the Pacific, the bronze plaque at the studio glimmered in soft orange light. People paused, breathed deeply, and remembered her. The words etched in bronze captured the essence of Patricia Davis. A life of peace, a heart of love, a soul that touched every mind and body it met, remembered forever. Her story, though marked by tragedy, became a testament to perseverance, justice, and the enduring power of memory. The final lesson remained clear. Trust can be fragile, darkness can hide behind the familiar, but truth, patience, and courage can restore balance and honor those we have lost.